The big thing, Democrats refused to debate last night how their free stuff costs you a lot of money, trillions of dollars, also makes rising costs even worse. From free tuition to free health care, somebody always angles to make a lot of profit off of taxpayer-backed free stuff. Now watch the moderate Democrats push back on the hard left. This is a party totally divided.
We've talked about giving free health care to undocumented workers when so many Americans are struggling to pay for their health care. I, quite frankly, don't think that that is an agenda that we can move forward on and win.
We don't have to go around and be the party of subtraction and telling half the country who has private health insurance that their health insurance is illegal.
Do I think that we are going to end up voting for a plan that kicks half of America off of their current insurance in 4 years? No, I don't think we're going to do that. I think there is a better way to get what we all want to see.
Let's take it up with conservative commentator, columnist, and book author, Kristin Tate. She joins me now. Great to see you, Kristin. I'm so happy you're on. We need you on the show. What's your reaction? Need your reaction to all of this.
Great to be with you, Liz. Yeah, Liz Warren and Bernie Sanders dodged very legitimate questions and criticisms from their fellow Democrats. These two progressives refused to acknowledge how much their plans would actually cost or how these plans would really fundamentally alter the way of life for so many Americans. These kind of Medicare for all plans have already failed several times on the state level, including, ironically, Bernie's home state of Vermont. The plan there was deemed too expensive and overcomplicated. But I mean, look, Medicare is already too overcomplicated. It's already subject to endless bureaucracy, overspending, and fraud. So to add an additional 250 million people at least to the 50 million people already being served by Medicare is just a recipe for disaster. But I think the most important thing we should point out here is that we can't afford a universal health care system and open borders. The same people who are demanding universal health care want to let as many immigrants as possible into this country. That is a fast track to bankrupting America and would destroy any health care that the government's already attempting to provide.
You know, if Bernie Sanders was with us now, he would say to you, Kristin, just trust me. I know what I'm doing. Because watch his answer to what happened when a moderate pushed back on him. Look at this soundbite. Watch.
Medicare for All is comprehensive. It covers all health care needs for senior citizens. It will finally include dental care, hearing aids, and eyeglasses.
But you don't know.
Second of all,
you don't know that,
second
Bernie.
of all,
We'll come to you in a second,
I do know, and I wrote the damn bill.
I mean, so what he wrote the bill? I could write a bill that says the sky is green, doesn't make it so.
Right, exactly. Medicare for all would cost at least $32.6 trillion, and none of these progressives want to talk about how they would pay for it. Liz Warren, she claims that she would pay for it by only raising taxes on billionaires and corporations. This seems to be an overt lie. Her proposed wealth tax would only bring in $2.75 trillion in the first decade. That's according to her own advisors. That would only cover the cost of 8% of Medicare for all. So I think a lot of these far lefties like Bernie Sanders and Liz Warren, they're not really living in reality here. They're basically trying to out Santa Claus each other with promises of free stuff to get naive and young voters excited.
Yeah, they're promising sunshine and rainbows and unicorns and lollipops. You know, Bernie Sanders even said that Canada, you don't get a health bill. Of course you do. New report coming out of British Columbia, for example. Tens of thousands of dollars in health bills unpaid for that the government paid for. Canadians pay for it. What Bernie Sanders wants is even to the left of China. Let's watch Democrat moderate John Delaney pushing back on Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders' plan to rip away health insurance from 180 million Americans. Watch this.
Can you imagine if we tried to start Social Security now but said private pensions are illegal? That's the equivalent of what Senator Sanders and Senator Warren are proposing with health care. That's not a big idea. That's an idea that's dead on arrival. That will never happen. So why don't we actually talk about things, big ideas that we can get done?
I mean, are Democrats blowing it again? I mean, if they can't convince Americans that they have the case and the plan to beat Trump, I mean, how can they expect to win over skeptical voters, especially in the swing states?
You're right. The Democrats are in a really hard position right now because they need to mobilize those far left progressives and radicals to win a primary, and that's who, Liz Warren and Bernie Sanders are playing to. But when it comes time to beat Trump in a general election, you have to think that many middle Americans, perhaps the vast majority of middle Americans, are watching these people in the debates, and they realize that Sanders and Warren are blithering economic idiots who have no plans on how to pay for any of this. I mean, anyone with basic knowledge about how economics works understands that, you can't just give free stuff to everyone without any plan to pay for it. And every country in the world that has any kind of universal healthcare system has to raise taxes on the middle class in some capacity to pay for it. But there's just no acknowledgement of that from these candidates, or at least from the progressive candidates.
Kristin Tate, great to see you. Come back soon. We love having you on.
Thank you so much, Liz. Love joining the show.
Same here.